everyone, I'm June, the Happy Thai Girl. So what's for dinner? Imagine a tender slice of savory meat next to roasted carrots, potatoes, and onions, then a drizzle of warm rosemary gravy. You guessed it, old-fashioned pot roast. 15 minutes of prep on the stove and pop it into the oven. Old-fashioned pot roast is coming up next on Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. It is truly happy. It brings joy to think this is a happy shopping store. They've got everything, including today's dish, which is pot roast, old-fashioned pot roast. Now, I know there's a million ways to do it, and I called it old-fashioned because I didn't add like any creamy soups or anything to this. This is a basic, classic pot roast, and I know there's varieties, right? So we start with pot roast, and this is a smaller pot roast. Usually this is about 2 pounds on sale right now. But usually, you want a 3 or 4 pound, but this recipe can go for about 2 to 3 pounds of pot roast. So I'm gonna start wearing gloves when I'm doing this. It saves my skin, if I washing my hands so often and things like that, and it's gonna be better, right? And also, like if you happen to cut yourself a little bit, I actually, it will cut through the glove a little bit, but then it won't be as bad on your fingers. But anyway, so hopefully that doesn't happen. It has happened before. All right, so we start with any chuck roast. Honestly, pot roast is amazing because you can use any cheap cut because it's slowly cooked in the oven, so it's going to be super tender and super delicious. A lot of times, in our community with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or any other church, people like to pop it in the oven, and when they get back home, they have a yummy Sunday meal with pot roast, right? So we'll start with a nice cut of meat, and I'm going to season it with a little salt and pepper. So let's go with that. A little more generous than you might think, and then because some of it will come off with when you put it into the gravy, right? So I'm just going to add some salt all around and rub it a little bit. And I'm going to also add some pepper, just a little pepper. Pepper is a little stronger, of course, than salt, and you're going to be simmering it, so actually seasonings will go quite a long ways. Okay, so we did that, and so I'm going, let me start the stove. I want the oil to be really hot. We're going to first sear our meat because it will save the juices and keep the moisture into the meat once we start slow cooking it. So going to dredge it is what they say, with a little bit of flour on all sides. Okay, so you don't want a thick layer. You want it to be lightly tossed like that, right? So then, well, the oil's not hot yet, so I'm just gonna leave that here for a second. Okay, so you want the oil pretty hot. So I'm gonna rinse off my hands real quick. Well, it's getting hot, which honestly, I should have started that sooner, but that's okay. I'm going to start peeling and prepping my vegetables. So we start with, I love this thing. I got this at the Asian store, and it is such a great peeler. We usually peel, oh look, great peeler, and it didn't even work. Okay, here we go. So you gotta do it a certain way, right? So the right way, and then you just look at how wonderful that peels. Not too much and just enough, and I just love it. It's so comfy in my hand. Not that I'm promoting this product, but I am. But I just got it at the Asian. It's so inexpensive and not the fancy kind. So I'm just going to peel my potato. Now this is a small roast, so I'm not putting too many vegetables in it, but of course you can add more potatoes, more whatever, but then of course you'll have to consider the flavor, and it may have to add a little bit more beef broth or something like that, okay? So we just do this. I'm going to go ahead and cut my potatoes. We're just going to cube it. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, of course, but I'm just going to cut it into about 1 inch like that. have big pieces, you're welcome to make it smaller bite size, but I like to have some flavor to those big pieces. And then you peel your carrots. I already peeled this. So I'm just going to also cube my carrots. They call it cube, but they're not perfect cubes, of course. And then the celery, I'm not going to make them too small bite sizes. The celery is mostly for flavor, so I'm just going to keep them about 2-inch length like that. I'm also going to go ahead and do my garlic, about 2 cloves of garlic, and to add some flavor. Some people don't put garlic in their pot roast, but I love garlic. But now, you know, my father-in-law, not my father-in-law, but my daughter's father-in-law, he's allergic to garlic, and I didn't realize some people are allergic to garlic. It just, not necessarily allergic, it's more like it's just a little bit harder on some people to eat because it's strong. So you could substitute with maybe garlic powder. A little bit of garlic powder is not as strong as like full garlic. That would work. Oh, I smell my oil getting really, really hot. So I'm going to go ahead and take my tongs. I'm going to sear. I'm just going to add that. Can you hear that? Okay, so that's all it is. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes while I'm finishing my prep here on my veggies and my garlic. The sounds of cooking is amazing. I love it. Sometimes when I'm cooking, I'll have music on, but a lot of times it's nice and quiet just to hear nothing really. It's just kind of thoughtful for me. And if I'm mad or emotional. And it doesn't need to be minced too fine, just enough to be able to add some flavor when we brown the garlic and onions later. I'll show you. So I'm going to cut big chunks of onions. If you notice how I cut my onion, it makes it a lot easier to peel. And I cut the ends off, and then I cut the corners, and then I just peel it off like that. Now there we go. Beautiful. Look what pretty onions today. Okay, and then I just cut into chunks like that, so your eyes won't water. Although I remember a show where somebody said you can put bread in their nose or something. Maybe I'm wrong. It's like you just stick bread in your nose and it doesn't get the fumes and you don't get all sneezy, whatever. Okay, so that's about 2 minutes. And then I'm going to turn it over. I'm just going to hold it with my tongue and brown on all sides. Now, the longer the better, but this will still do just as well because we're searing. So maybe a minute. Some people would like to do it for like 3 or 4 minutes. I think if you have a bigger roast, I think you would need to sear it 3 or 4 minutes all the way so it's completely sealed up. So I manually did the ends, and so now I'm letting the other side to completely seal it longer. So another thing I love are fresh herbs, right? So I just took a little piece of twine and tied up fresh string of rosemary and thyme. And I think the name rosemary is so pretty. And love the smell. So we're going to put that once we do that at the end, like when we put the pot in. Okay, so that's it for our prep. I'm going to talk a little bit about the wine while this is like browning a little bit. This is cooking wine. It's like a few dollars a bottle. And I looked up like, well, what is the substitute for cooking wine? So you could use extra broth or something, but in reality, the cooking wine adds a little unique flavor to red meats when you roast things. It's so good. So, okay, so I think that's good right now for the meat. I'm going to remove the meat from the pot. I can grab a good hold of it. Set it aside. Okay, and then we have some olive oil in there, but I'm going to add a couple more tablespoons. And 1, 2. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add my garlic and onions. Garlic and onion is the reason why we add with the oil, the hot oil, it pulls out the flavor of these yummy vegetables that adds so much to nearly every savory dish that you can think of. Garlic and onion is a staple, right? Staple. So my husband and I are taking a trip to Vietnam and Thailand in a few weeks, and I downloaded Duolingo. I'm so excited. So I can learn some Vietnamese since I already know Thai, right? Okay, so I just browned these. Anyway, so when I say staple, I catch myself how those two words are so alike. And we used to complain. We complain about other countries' languages that, everything sounds the same. How do you know what it is? And the tones and stuff like that. It's so fun. Anyway, I love it. And so I didn't realize Vietnam, they have a lot of French influence, hence the baguette, although I guess I'm talking about Vietnam, and I'm making old-fashioned pot roast in Spanish Fork, Utah. Anyway, so when I say it's a staple, the onion and the garlic, and so I'm adding all the veggies, I'm browning it, okay? So we're going to add our either chicken stock, or I love my chicken paste. Better than bouillon, I have a beef and also a chicken. I think in my recipe I wrote down chicken stock, because chicken stock will go with any meat, but I am going to use beef to bring out the beef flavor. So about 2 teaspoons, well, 1.5 teaspoons, something like that. It's close enough. It'll be good. And then I add a 1/2 cup of water. Because this meat is only about 2 pounds. So, but if you're going to have maybe a 3-pound roast, you may want to add a little bit more flavor to it. But either way, it's still going to be so good, right? Now I'm going to add our cooking wine. I always wondered, I don't drink, but it smells like wine. But it's going to be awesome. Okay, so about 1/2 cup. Add that. So I was thinking, what's the difference between red and, this is Marsala. It's recommended with red meat. There was only 3 kinds. There was a white cooking wine also. Okay, that's it for that. I'm going to cover and let it boil. It shouldn't take long. All right, the veggies have been simmered for a few minutes now, about 5 minutes maybe. So we're going to go ahead and add our beef. I'm going to nestle it in so we can get it right kind of in between the veggies. So you push it down a little bit and throw in your sprig of herbs there. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna stick it into the oven. I can find my oven mitts. Okay, let me put this on 325. But I noticed in high altitude cooking, oh, that's heavy. In high altitude cooking, it appears that it's 350. You want to go up another 25 degrees. At least the newer ovens, because my old oven I could do whatever, but I feel like I have a newer oven, and so it says 325. But if you're living in high altitude, I would put on 350. And then you want to leave that on for about in 350, I would say like an hour-ish, and then turn it down. And then at 275, you want to let it, and then you turn it down to about 250, 275. And then 2.5 hours total-ish. So I'm going to go ahead, I have some already in the oven. So let me see here. I'm going to open and turn the oven light. Okay, let's check and the temperature. So I have a temperature thermometer. You want it to be about medium, well, I would see 160. So let me turn this on and see if I can get it to 160. Okay, there's 163. Okay, the roast is ready. Ready for the reveal? I'm so excited. Oh, look at how beautiful. In reality, I really don't need to plate this. Do you think, guys? Well, I have to because I'm gonna have to cut it. So let's go ahead and put it out here. Look at how tender that looks. Let's go ahead and put that here. So you do want to, let me get a slotted spoon. I wish you guys were here. I always say that, but this smells wonderful. Now, I'm going to quickly make the gravy. Forgot about that. Just going to put in here. And this is optional. I mean, really, you just need some flour and butter. So you boil, you want to add some butter. I'm just going to add well, this is more like 4 tablespoons. It's going to be so good. And I'm just going to add a little bit of flour to it with the butter. I'm going to put on the butter. I'm going to, in reality, about maybe 2 tablespoons of flour and use my whisk. Because this butter is actually soft, but if it's not soft, you want to melt. I'm going to whisk it quickly. Okay, it's already thick. I need some more flour. More water. Now, at this point, you could add more broth, actually, would add the flavor to it. Now, of course, you can use cornstarch if you want it gluten-free to thicken this gravy. Okay, and that's all. All that flavor from the roast is in there. I'm going to do a quick taste. Quick taste. And, you know, oh, it's so good. That's all you need to do. Because you can add, sugar, salt. You probably need a little salt and pepper. I'm going to turn that off, though. It's ready to get going here. Let's go ahead and plate it. I'm going to taste it. I'm going to take that picture, right? So I'm going to just taste it myself. Get a piece of, look at, this is going to be so good. I'm just going to cut a little bit at the corner here, just to put it right. You've got all this, so I won't get all that, but I know, it's tied. Right now there's a string to it. You see the string? But I just want a little piece. I want to get me a few veggies, maybe a piece of carrot and a piece of potato. Now, you guys, I love mashed potatoes. So you don't have to put potatoes in. You can make mashed potatoes, or you can still do that in mashed potatoes, I guess. Or you can mash the carrots, but it makes a gravy, right? So I'm going to add a little gravy to mine. And you can, maybe I should add some gravy onto, oh no, I won't. Okay, we can put that in a separate bowl. All right, are you ready for the tasting? Look at that, that's so tender. I didn't really need a knife. Don't you love it when I do a little dance? Good food deserves a dance. So yummy. Some potatoes. That's a good seasoning. I don't taste like I need to add additional salt. So I think with the gravy too, it'd be so good when you guys add that on. Look how easy. Easy, right? 15 minutes on the stove, like prep time, and stick in the oven. You guys, till next time, this is so delicious. You've got to make it. So happy cooking.